What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece, and it's time for another video. Tomorrow is the Hater's birthday, but you can sure as hell expect another video tomorrow. 37 years old, feeling like I'm 23 up in this piece. Now, today's video is about a topic that doesn't get enough discussion. People have kind of accepted it and moved on, but not the Hater. The topic at hand, of course, is how Triple H has completely fumbled the ball in running this company, right? People need to be held accountable. Triple H and his clear bad eye for talent have led us to where we are. Triple H is the guy that has no creativity and has no capacity to understand what can and cannot sell. This is evidenced by the fact that none of the wrestlers are popular in any capacity. You go down the street, you ask 100 people who Gunther is, and they're going to say, does this guy work at the airport handling luggage? Because that's what he looks like. No one's going to recognize this guy as the WWE Heavyweight Champion. Even if they did, you would know deep inside that he doesn't look the part at all. He's just a regular dude. And this is not the time for regular dudes. Now, Triple H clearly has his favorites, which explains why people like Sami Zayn keep getting chance after chance, despite never making 1 cent for this company, right? Oftentimes, I bring up certain wrestlers that I like in the past, like Val Venus. Well, here's another one presently, Cedric Alexander, right? I use him as the example of what he represents, and that is someone that deserves at least 1 chance, right? He deserves 1 chance. In the Hurt business, he should have been the one to stand up to Lashley at some point, and that would have been his chance. Then, if the fans get behind him, so be it. If they don't, at least he had his chance. Sami Zayn had his chance, and the fans get behind him. But they only get behind him because he's booked in a certain way. He is protected, right? Sami Zayn never loses a match unless he absolutely has to, right? Sami Zayn is presented as someone that often overcomes the odds. I don't know what it is about Sami Zayn that makes him this guy, right? This is never explained at all. It's just explained that for some reason, Sami Zayn, we're supposed to believe, is more resilient than Cedric Alexander, as an example, right? For some reason, Sami Zayn wants it more, right? We've had characters like Dolph Ziggler, whose entire backbone stems from the fact that he wants it more. And even people like him have been jobbed out. Now, I'm not saying that Dolph Ziggler and Cedric Alexander are the next Rock and Austin. Obviously not. But they should be held to higher regard than Sami Zayn, right? Triple H has the people that he likes, and he keeps pushing these people. I don't know why he likes them. Maybe he just gets along with them. It could be that. But the reality is what the reality is. Triple H is picking jobbers to be pushed in this company. And this reflects with the viewership. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, Hater, WWE is doing better than it always has, or than it ever has, I should say. Well, first of all, that's not true, but even if it were true, it doesn't matter. None of the reasons that WWE is doing well have anything to do with Triple H, right? The only thing that can be attributed to him is the product, right? He's the creative mind behind it. The business part, I don't care if Triple H is a good businessman. WWE has benefited from the fact that it was ran for decades by one of the greatest businessmen of all time, Vince McMahon. Now, it's being handled by other prominent businessmen like Ari Emanuel and people that know what they're doing. They put intelligent people at the top to run the operations, like the actual operations. You know what I mean? Not the bullshit, but the people that say, all right, we're going to make this action figure, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is the kind of stuff that we care about, right? Now, Triple H is in charge of what we see on TV. And what we see on TV is garbage. So he must take the fall for that, right? Starting with one of the haters' favorite talking points, the fact that nobody wrestles. This is a decision by Triple H. I understand the model. I am very familiar with it. It is the UFC model. You turn on every Saturday night when there is not a UFC pay-per-view, and you will see a UFC fight night. Almost always, UFC fight nights are going to be a bunch of jobbers hanging out and fighting each other. There'll be a bunch of dudes that are like 7'2". These guys who probably are never going to make it. Obviously, once in a while, one of these guys is like 5-0, he goes to 6-0 and he becomes a big deal, right? Over time, that happens. Dana White also has the Contender Series, which is parallel to NXT as well as to the new WWE ID initiative. Look up on that later, motherfucks. So the idea here is this. Triple H does not have a good eye of growing talent, so he is using the Dana White method. The problem is this. The Dana White method works for the UFC because in the UFC, you're primarily looking for people that are good at a sport. In other words, you want to cast a wide net to get as many people in the door as possible. WWE does this, gives nobody a chance, and then picks the worst people from the bunch and pushes them. You know what I mean? So for example, Gunther, he's the best example of all time. Gunther is the latest in a long line of foreign heels, right? There is nothing distinguishing him from Kozlov that's positive. There is nothing distinguishing him from Miro that is positive. All of these guys are booked in the exact same way. They're this menacing, unbeatable heel until someone beats them. The only difference with Gunther is that the person that beat him is Sami Zayn, who's a jobber, so it doesn't count, right? Sami Zayn beat him at WrestleMania, and then he lost no momentum because it's like, oh, Sami Zayn beat him. Sami Zayn never beats anybody, so it's just a fluke. Corey Graves straight up said it was a fluke. Imagine if Rusev got the push that he got, which was even better, right? And then at WrestleMania, it was Rusev versus Cena, and Cena beats Rusev. And then the next day, Michael Cole says, oh, Cena beat Rusev, but that's just a fluke. Well, you can't do that, right? Because he lost to Cena, who's a multiple-time world champion, so it's obviously not a fluke. But when you lose to a multiple-time jobber like Sami Zayn, you can present it as a fluke and basically just have this as a feel-good moment for Sami Zayn that led to absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? That's where we find ourselves now. The absolutely nothing era, right? Now, in addition to this, everybody else that has any kind of potential of getting over doesn't wrestle at all, right? We're talking to this point now, even JD McDon doesn't wrestle anymore, right? Because he's a tag team champion. So instead of seeing him, we have to see people that want to be him. This is where we've gone to at this point. We are now in a situation, thanks to Triple H, where we have to worry and wonder as to who is the next JD McDon. Is it going to be Humberto Carrillo or is it going to be Axiom? That's the question before us, right? Whereas in the past, we would ask, who is the next Hulk Hogan? And you'd have people every week wrestling to establish themselves as the dominant force. Now, nobody does that anymore, right? The dominant force doesn't need to be established in wrestling anymore because the dominant force is told to us. They just tell us that Cody Rhodes is the best wrestler in this company. They just tell us that Gunther is the best. And then every 7 months, Gunther decides to wrestle, right? Like, when was the last time Cody Rhodes defended his title? You know what I mean? Well, I don't even remember. Who did he defend it against? Like Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam? Like, that's like 3 months ago. You know what I mean? That's the last time, as far as I know, that Cucky defended his title. Because after that, he had a tag team match at Bad Blood with Roman Reigns. And now he's having a match for another title that nobody cares about, the Crown Stool title, against Gunther. So it's been 3 months since Cody Rhodes defended the title on TV. So if Triple H doesn't care about the title, if Nick Aldis doesn't care about the title, if Cucky Owens doesn't care about the title, if Randy Orton doesn't care about the title, if Cucky Rhodes doesn't care about the title, why in the blue hell should I care about the title? This is an opportune time to actually introduce any champion you want as the workhorse champion, right? Like, who the hell is the North American champion? Tony D'Angelo. If Tony D'Angelo starts wrestling every week, he can make the argument that he's the guy that's the best champion in WWE because he's the one that's defending it consistently. Now, in the UFC, things are different. It's okay for a UFC fighter to fight once a year because that's just the format, right? Combat sports are like that. You fight once every 6 months if you're lucky. If you're the champion, you might even fight once a year. You know what I mean? So with all that being said, we find ourselves in a situation where there's nothing we can do about it, right? We just have to wait until the next time Cucky Rhodes decides to wrestle for the title. But this is exactly what Roman Reigns did, and when he did it, people got pissed off. People were like, wow, how is Roman Reigns holding the title hostage? How is Brock Lesnar? Like, you will not convince me that Brock Lesnar defended the title less frequently than Cody Rhodes. You just won't, right? He was more of a presence. And at the end of the day, he's still Brock Lesnar, right? Cody Rhodes, who's a guy that should be wrestling every week and putting himself over as a legend, right, is content with being mid-card Cody Rhodes, who had one title run that nobody cares about. What's going to happen once Cody Rhodes loses the title? He will lose it eventually. Even if he keeps it for another 2 years, who cares? He will lose it eventually. What's going to happen then? he's not going to be established as like a big-time champion, right? He's not going to have a Roman Reigns type title run. Nobody's going to have that again, right? For a long time at least. So what's going to happen then? He's still going to wrestle like to the frequency of Drew McIntyre? By the way, where the hell is Drew McIntyre, right? The booking decisions that are being made are not conducive to getting anybody excited. Now, if Drew McIntyre is billed as being on Raw next week, you know damn well he's not wrestling. You know damn well he's going to go there and cut a promo. CM Punk, the next time he comes back, he's going to cut like 7 promos and have a few contract signings before he actually has a match. Like, expect CM Punk and Drew McIntyre to essentially return just in time for the Royal Rumble. Because we're around the corner, motherfucks. After Survivor Series, there's nothing left. That's it. It's the Royal Rumble, and then that begins the road to WrestleMania. And you bet your ass that Cody Rhodes and people like that are going to wrestle at the Rumble, and that's it. Like, do you see a scenario in which Cody Rhodes defends the title at Elimination Chamber? I don't. Maybe Gunther will, but it would be far more likely that we'll have some meaningless tag match, and the Elimination Chamber match will be for the number 1 contender to the other guy, right? Instead of having like it used to be, where both championships get defended, right? Both championships get defended, and meanwhile, we have the Royal Rumble guy waiting in the back, right? This made sense because this put over the Royal Rumble as being almost more important than anything else, as almost being more important than being the champion. Why? Because if you win the Royal Rumble, you're main eventing WrestleMania. That was the understanding, right? You are guaranteed to main event WrestleMania, but the champion is not. Nowadays, the champion is guaranteed to main event WrestleMania as long as he holds the title at Survivor Series. Ain't no way Cody Rhodes is going to be wrestling for the title from Survivor Series to Mania. He might have like one match against like, you know, AJ Styles or something like that. A meaningless throwaway match he's not going to lose, right? The only way he's going to lose it is if he wrestles like The Rock or someone like that, where it's like a storyline type situation, right? But even then, that would be like a shitty way to end his storyline at this point. So there we have it, Cucks. There we have it. Triple H doesn't know what he's doing, and as a result, this year, starting, you know, if we start counting from WrestleMania till now, is the worst year, in my opinion, in terms of in-ring and TV product, right? Largely because the in-ring product is being carried by people like Jey Uso and fucking like Tama Tonga, which this guy, like, I don't even know why this guy has a job. But there you have it, Cucks. This is what's happening now. All the jobbers from the indies are coming into the WWE to basically carry the company, while people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who were indie jobbers, now wrestle whenever the hell they damn well please. Sami Zayn hasn't wrestled since he wrestled Gunther. It's been like a month and a half. You know what I mean? Or at least it's been at least a month, right? He hasn't wrestled. He hasn't shown up. All he does is he goes backstage and he tells Jey Uso not to trust Roman Reigns like we care. You know, this storyline is way played out and nobody cares about it anymore. So with that being said, take care of yourself, Cucks.